Welcome to the 1987 Clinton County Fair. We're getting going here on the morning of Wednesday, July 29th. And we're starting off with the Cloverbud competition, 6 to 8 years old who've never shown before. And this is the 4-H Fitting and Showmanship competition. And right now, to explain what's going on, we've got Mr. Lawrence Bosley here, and we hope to have Mr. Sam Blaine come on over and also lend a hand. He's hiding behind a post over there, kind of on the bashful side, we think. Sam, why don't you let's get Sam's taking off. Go ahead, Lawrence.
This first little girl is Jessica Blaine from Champlain, and the other little girl is Sarah Bushy from Champlain, Rouse's Point area. They're in what we call the Cloverbud class, and the judge is looking to see how neatly they cleaned this animal. This is what we call a showmanship class. This includes the neatness of the person and the neatness of the animal, and how well the individual handles this animal in the show ring. As the judge walks around, this little girl should change the feet on the back so that perfect, she did a good job. And same this one here. I think the judge was looking to see the reaction of this little girl when he touched that heifer. She should pull the head over, and that's what she did. And this little girl should do the same thing. She didn't do it. She should have turned the head towards the judge. The judge is going to look for other traits to see how he can make his decision who should be in first place and who in second in this particular class.
Any particular reason why they have to turn the head? Is that just the way it's done, or is there a reason for it?
There's a reason for it. The judge is looking to see how tender the hide is, how pliable, how far it'll stretch, and as they turn the head, the hide will stretch further. It is just a dairy characteristic of having a nice loose hide on an animal, a dairy animal. Jessie seems to have a little problem with her animal in controlling it, and this could be points against her at this point.
Her animal's a little bit younger than the other one. How old would you say these animals are out there?
I would say this is a spring calf. I'm talking possibly March, and the other one is probably August calf of last year. She's trying to pose this little calf, the little Blaine girl. They should both be posing their animals for the judge at this point in the show.
The class that we're watching right now is 4-H Fitting and Showmanship Cloverbud 6 to 8 year old.
Our person on the microphone describing the show to the group is Teresa Jeanette, our 4-H club agent from Clinton County.
This is Cooperative Extension, I believe, right?
Right, this is Cooperative Extension.
Our judge today is Greg Porter from Porterdale Farm.
Sarah's had just a little bit more experience, so she's finding things a little bit easier today than little Jessica. At this point, she should look over the animal very quickly and then get over to the halter and set up the animal properly. And this is just what she did.
Okay, could you tell the people why the judge had him switch animals?
The judge wants to know if it's the animal or the individual showing the animal what makes the animal react the way it reacts.
Because this is competition between the showman or show person, not the actual animals so much, right?
That's very true. It's not the body type of the animal. It's in tidiness of the animal and then of the person and the ability of the person to show this animal to his best advantage. Most animals have a little weak point of some type, and they want to try to hide that a little bit by knowing how to handle the halter and how to make the animal. Now the little Jessica did not turn that head again. Watch this on this one. I believe he's going to try it. And the little girl turned the head properly. She seems to be making all the proper moves today. But that's just a little bit more experience, a little bit more practice.
Cloverbutt, I believe, is the actual first time that these girls have shown.
Not necessarily. It means they're under 9 years of age. They might
probably have never won, probably, huh?
No, it means that they're under the regulation age as a 4-H club member. It's a new group that started called the Cloverbutts. They're under the age of 9. And there will be another class that will come out, are beginners. They could be different ages. Our judge today for this show is Greg Porter from Porter Farms, Governor.
You think he's made his decision over there and he's got them lined up in the order?
I'm quite sure he has, and what he's doing at this point is explaining to each one of them the good and bad points and the reasons he's placed them where they are. He will not get on the microphone and tell all the public of why, because it's just a little easier on this age group to let them know personally what's happened, and they can grow with it. He'll give some reasons, but he won't elaborate.
In this class in Cloverbutts, I think we have a real close place in a couple of girls that obviously have had a lot of coaching. They both know what they're doing. The girls first today put a place over to one and second, mainly because when we did switch the halters, she took a complete look at the animal both times when she took the halter. Because the little calf, when she came back and got her own calf, where the girl in second didn't do it in the beginning, but she did when she went back to get her own calf. Also, the girl in first, a little quicker on the halter when I went up to feel the hide. She turned the neck towards me. But I think both girls should be commended on a fine job of preparation, and both a couple of real fine showmen.
This is very true for an age group of this type. They do have a lot of knowledge of what they are doing out there.
Showmanship, and this is for anyone who has never shown before. First, I'm going to announce our winners here. Receiving Blue Award in the halter is Sarah Bushy, and receiving the Blue Award is Jessica Blaine. Okay, now we have our master showmanship. For anyone that's never shown before.
The Blaine and Bushy families will be represented again throughout the morning, won't they?
That's very true, and they've worked very hard at this. These are some new people coming in, their first year. Lisa Bergen is our first little girl. Katrina Irwin is our second individual entering the ring. And Amy Mitchell is our third person entering the ring. They have never shown cattle in a competition ever before in their lives. This is the first time they've entered a competition.
Any idea where these girls are from, Lawrence?
Yes, Lisa is from the Rouse's Point area. Trina's from Peru, and Amy is from West Shazy. Lisa has an identical twin sister sitting over here at our right.
I suppose it's only proper to go over and show her. This is Lisa, who you said?
Bergen.
Bergen?
Lisa's a little bit older, and I think she's going to find this class just a little bit easier than the other two competitors. The moms and dads sit on the side and become very nervous. This is the first time they see their youngsters in the ring. The judge now is checking how clean the ears are, how great a job was done in cleaning and grooming this animal. These calves are all born after the 1st of March, that happens to be in this group. So they haven't had a lot of time to learn. Reportedly, they're very young. These youngsters are doing a real good job in handling them.
Excuse me, are the youngsters allowed to have any help in getting these animals clean, or is it supposed to be done entirely by themselves?
This is entirely 4-H'ers. Once in a while, moms and dads walk in and try to help. They just can't help themselves. But it's normally a 4-H project for the individual. Trina's dad is a real good showman. Right now he's a little nervous sitting on the far side with his wife. Seeing his daughter not able to get that gap going after he's worked with it and worked with his daughter trying to make things work, and it's not happening right now.
Well, this is obviously the calves' first show also, and it's bound to make them a little bit nervous.
That's very true. But this little girl's hanging in there and not giving up, and that's the name of the game too.
Most of these calves will be boarded up here, right, over the fair time, or if they're not brought in the morning to...
They've been brought in 2 days ago and got them ready and fed.
Get a little time to acclimate to the
Right.
new surroundings also, I imagine.
And what's probably happened with the other two calves, these two little girls got out here and walked around this ring probably yesterday and probably last night and maybe early this morning before the show to get them acquainted to the surroundings. They don't know what this is all about. These lights overhead and people standing around. Just everything new for them. I saw this cat treating has earlier, and it was leading very well, doing a beautiful job. Right now, she decided she's not going to do a thing.
Maybe it's the camera knowing she's going to be on national TV like this that made the calf nervous. You think that might be it?
You could be right. They'll remember her longer.
Yes.
How we figured that out.
Now, will a judge penalize the child a lot for something like this? I mean,
Oh, yes, definitely. There's no question in my mind that this little girl would have to be at the bottom of this class.
because of her obstinate effort that she has there.
And it doesn't mean the little girl doesn't know what to do. It's just that decided she's not going to. And
What goes into choosing which, I'm sure some kids don't have access to a large farm, so they just get whatever comes along. But if you do, what makes you decide which one to grab, which heifer you're going to show?
well, you look at that calf and you want a nice straight top calf, tall, strong, powerful animal, an animal we need width between the front legs so that heart can beat and push blood through that body much easier.
Yep.
I'll be ready.
Lawrence has departed. And from what we saw last year, usually when he lines them up this way, he's sometimes, of course this is a different judge, but usually the judge has made up his mind. He just will try to line them up in order. That doesn't mean he can't change his mind in a moment. He's going to move them around again. Usually when they're lined up like this, it's he is close to making up his decision on who's who and who's going to win what. And since Lisa Bergen was the first one out, he may be leaning toward her. And of course right here, this calf not moving is not helping this girl one single bit. He's having Bergen go over here, so she may be the one, because when they line up over there, that's usually it. He has made up his mind. And once again, the competition here in this 4-H fitting and showmanship competition is not so much the animal, although the animal does obviously play a big factor in it. The competition is between the youngsters, and looks like this girl here may have been moved down a place. Her animal really got hard-headed when she tried to move it out of there. But it is how the individual is able to handle their animal, how clean the animal is, and how well they show it. And if you have a hard-headed animal on the morning of the showing, it's obviously going to go against you.
Right now is novice showmanship for anyone in 4-H that's never shown before. And on deck we have junior showmanship, 9 to 12-year-olds.
This is all taking place on July 29th, a 9 a.m. start time here at the 4-H Fitting and Showmanship competition for 1987. This is a novice class. And looks like our man Lawrence is back in the barn here, but he's heading off in the other direction. Still hoping to get Sam Blaine on to say a few words sometime this morning, but he's got 4 daughters competing here, so he, I'm sure, has a lot of other things to do. And looks like this is how it's going to be. 1, 2, 3. The judge is going to make his decision known to the public.
In this novice showmanship, I think it's unfortunate we have a couple cats that didn't want to meet today, and it was hard to see just what the showman could do with them. Because of that, I feel we have an easy winner. First, a girl that was on the ball quite a bit. She got the legs position. She turned the neck. Fine preparation on all 3 animals. The one thing she didn't do, I felt she doesn't always let the cat look her best. She had the mechanics down, but she let the rear leg get back a little too far. The girl in second or the one in third, mainly today because of the way she handled the halter. She held the chain part with the left hand and the strap with the right, where the girl in third didn't. She also turned the neck when it went up to feel the height. The girl in third failed to do that on a couple occasions. Like I said, it's unfortunate the last 2 didn't lead very well, so I think we do have a very good showman for second and third. But an easy winner in this class today.
Receiving the halter and blue ribbon today, we have Lisa Bergen.
Lisa Bergen wins first.
Receiving reds, we have Katrina Irwin and Amy Mitchell.
Katrina
The
Irwin
halter for
and
this
Amy
class,
Mitchell
donated by Ethan Keith.
with the red ribbons. And we have Mr. Lawrence Bosley making his way back here, hopefully. This was the novice division. This is the first time that these girls have shown. And now we have a junior showmanship coming up. And the voice of the 4-H fitting competition, Lawrence Bosley, is back with us.
Now the judge is checking to see how clean these ears are.
This is Samantha Blaine here. And Shayna Blaine over here. So once again, the Blaines and Bushies well represented.
The judge is watching how well they are exhibiting that animal, making it walk slowly. What he's doing now, he's going to line them up and test them on their reactions and how they are going to set up their animal and if they're going to make the proper moves at the proper time. This first animal is not quite right. This back leg, that's proper now.
Is there a trick to getting to stand like that, Lawrence?
Yes, the trick is practice and work.
That's quite a trick.
And if you work at it, it happens. If you don't, it doesn't happen.
In a week's time, how much time would you say these kids have spent with their animals?
Some of these are spending up to 2 hours a day working and training these animals. At different times, they don't do it all at once. Maybe 15 minutes now and 15 minutes later, maybe a half hour squeezed in, and they're not placed yet. What he's doing is still testing them to find out if they are going to exhibit these animals the proper way. And what he was looking for is how quickly were they going to set these animals up. This was very quick. This is exactly what a judge is looking for. I would like to see that first animal that David Bushy is holding standing just a little bit better.
Her front feet aren't too good. Is that the problem?
That's correct. It makes the animal look odd as the judge looks at it. As the judge walks over, he should change those back feet, just what he did. Now the heifer's standing properly. At this point, he's going to switch them around to different animals. He wants to know if they are going to work with that animal properly. Samantha did a great job looking over the animal, checking to see if everything was right so she could show that animal. And David did the same to his animal. Now Shayna has to pick up that halter, get it ready, and see who's going to set up the quickest. She's taking just a little bit too long to set that halter up, get that animal ready.
And holding it like David's holding it right there, that's setting it up. You gotta hold it a certain way.
Yes, what you want is that head up. You don't want a sleepy animal. Right now they're all doing quite well. It's a little bit too high on David's right now. It's not showing it properly.
Yeah, he's pulling it.
You know, it's kind of stretching her head and neck. But Samantha's doing the right job. Shayna's doing a good job exhibiting that animal. You notice she's kind of standing to one side, letting the judge see that animal if he happens to look up. Okay, the judge has just asked them to set these animals up. Shayna did a beautiful, quick job of setting this animal. It was perfect. Samantha's taking a little bit too long. David is too. Shayna did a perfect job. It doesn't mean she'll win the show. It just means this particular move, she did it right.
The class that we're watching right now is Junior Showmanship.
Now those feet should move properly.
And the halter
Very good.
donated for a prize for this class.
David did not do it. He was not paying to the judge. He lost his class on that bad move.
He was listening to the PA system instead of paying attention to the judge.
That's right. And what he should do is, this is the small little world he's in, is in that show ring, nothing else.
They get distracted.
And he shouldn't have been, and he did. That could have cost him.
You think that'll weigh heavy?
I'm very
in the
sure.
decision?
I'm very sure it will. That is one of the big no-nos.
Yeah, he's here, and this is, like you said, this is his world right here, and he left it for a few moments.
That's right, and that's when he should not have had. The judge keeps all these things in his mind, and he measures and weighs up all these moves. They've all made a few little mistakes, but nothing real serious except that one of David's. That was a serious move in this competition. Right now it looks like the judge is not paying attention what's happening, but he really is. He watches out of the corner of his eye to see what they are doing.
And looks like Sarah Bushy's over there getting some souvenirs. A lot of souvenir hunters at the fairgrounds every year.
They do quite well here for some reason. There's quite a few gold nuggets found in this sawdust.
And they're free to the general public, I believe, aren't they?
Very much so.
All you have to do is ask. They'll
Take
gladly
as much home with you as you like.
fill up your trunk.
Gardens grow well with it.
Now he's over there talking to Samantha. Is he telling her what he was expecting of her? Usually I see that when they're lined up. What do you think is happening right now?
He's explaining what he likes and what he doesn't like and what he would prefer them to do. And we can't see right from here how neat those animals are, if there's dandruff on them, or if the ears are clean, or if all the little hairs are clipped off the face and head the way they probably should be. And he's probably telling them what he sees there. He's having a tough decision. It looks like he selected Samantha first. She made the least amount of mistakes.
That's not a nice way to put it. She did the best of you.
That's quite true. That's quite
let's
true.
Be positive here.
Now he's having a tough decision what to do. Maybe David can come through.
I'm switching animals again.
He still feels there's a close placing between these two, and these are going to be the moves that are going to decide if they'll be in second or third place.
David walks like an old farmer. Does that count any? As you walk around the animal, they look like you've been walking around an animal for about 60 years or so.
No, it won't count at all.
That won't help him a bit, huh?
No, it just what'll count is if he observes what needs to be done. So the judge is explaining to him what he wants to see, and he wants to know if he's going to give him that or not. I'm not sure just what happened there. Okay, he's watching to see if David would set that animal up properly, and he did.
Now, Shayna walked in back of her own animal. Was that necessary to do that again, or?
Yes, because the judge could have moved the animal. He could have put a little sawdust on the animal, and if Shayna would have seen it going around and brushed it off quickly. And
so anytime you set up an animal, whether it's yours or somebody else, you should walk around it and check it out.
make sure it's properly. And apparently he selected Shayna for second position in this class. I'm not sure, but I think he weighed heavily on David losing attention to the group.
I'm sure it's a tough job to judge something like this, and because you know you're going to be disappointing some of these kids, and you try not to.
It's difficult.
Anybody, yeah.
It's very difficult, and he wants to be fair with them, as fair as possible. Now Samantha's calf moved, and she did the proper thing, is pulling it up and moving it back into place. But she should not have gone quite as big a circle as that. But I don't think the judge is going to penalize her at all for it. He's still testing them. They've all spent a lot of time working with these animals. And for young children today, that seems to be a difficult thing to do because there are so many other activities that they enjoy doing, and activities out there to compete against this type of thing, to be able to spend that much time training and working with these animals. Because many farms you cannot walk on and put a halter on an animal and let a little person like this lead them around without getting hurt. Even though these animals are young, they are big and they are strong. The judge is doing a great job taking time and explaining to each one of them what's happening and what's expected of them.
You mentioned the big and strong. What would you say something like this? David's is the closest one to us here. What would you say an animal like that weighs?
In this junior showmanship, we have
This heifer weighs maybe 350 to 400 pounds right now.
Being a little sharp around the halter, she always knew where I was. I tried to trick her a couple times, reposition the rear legs the way I thought she might leave it. She put them back the way they belong. All three answered the questions I asked them correctly. The girl in second place is over the young man in third, mainly because when I did ask the questions as to why they took a complete look at the animal before they took the halter of a different animal, all three told me they took a good look at the animal. They wanted to see how the rear legs were positioned and see if there was any sawdust out. So with the second and third, I had them switch halters, and as soon as they took the halter, I asked them without looking which of the rear legs was back, because they told me that's what they were looking for. And the young girl in second got it right. The young man in third didn't know which leg was back. So basically, I think he learned a good lesson. The next time he will take a good look at the rear legs. I really like the way he handles the halter, probably more so than the girl in second. He's real comfortable with his heifer, but today he didn't really take a good look at the heifer. He also missed a few turns of the neck when I went up to feel the hide. But all three did a fine job, and both placed in second and third.
Receiving the halter donated by Champlain Valley Veterinary, we have Samantha Blaine. And receiving blues, we have Shayna Blaine and Mike David Bushy. Good job.
Getting back a moment to the size of the animal, like David's, that's 350 to 400. We're talking, put it in terms we can all understand, somewhere between Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy as far as weight.
Very close to that. Little David maybe weighs 60 pounds, and he's handling that much strong, powerful animal. We have a little more mature group of individuals coming in the ring now. And the judge is just going to be a little stricter with them. He's just going to want them to do just that much better job. And he's going to want that animal under real control. The first person that came into the ring was Amy Bushy. The second person is Sarah Sample. The third one is Johanna Blaine. Then Todd Hayward. And now Michael Bushy.
So Johanna seems to be having a problem right away with her heifer over there.
I'm not sure what the problem,
These are cows.
what is causing it.
Is that a cow or a heifer? I think this is a...
These are cow. She is a cow, the third one. The first one is a heifer, and it happens to be a Guernsey. And they are becoming very scarce in this part of the country. They are a nice, beautiful breed to watch. They have that golden Guernsey milk. And they are very docile in temperament. I know these young people have spent hours working with these animals, hours. Johanna's having a real bad time, and I'm not sure if she has a chance to come anywhere near the top with that happening. So the judge is taking time explaining to her some things that might help her to handle that cow a little bit easier. What he's doing is checking for dirt. Is there dirt left between the leg and the udder? And if you notice on a milk cow, you set them up opposite on the hind legs as a open heifer or a animal without an udder. The reason for that is when the judge looks at that animal, he's able to see the fore udder and the rear udder at the same time from his side of the animal. This judge is being very particular about having clean ears, and he's right in being so. If you are going to exhibit an animal, it needs to be clean. The judge again is looking for any dirt, any dust. He won't be upset if he finds it a little damp because they just washed them. He'll know it if they were just washed because they will be a little damp in between the udder and the leg. We have some real good showmen in this class, and it's a difficult job for the judge to decide who earns first place. But when he gives the motion to set up this animal, he wants to see who's going to do it the quickest.
As far as the decision the judge will make, is there any advantage into having a heifer over a cow, or vice versa, or will a cow look better than a heifer and I give you a few extra points, or what?
Yes and no. The reason I'm saying yes is that maybe this individual started with this cow as a calf and they've worked with it more and longer, so it's trained more than a calf or heifer would be.
But as far as looks of the animal in this particular instance, it won't give you any advantage.
No advantage whatsoever.
It's just a matter of experience. If you handle that cow since it's a calf, you can handle it a little bit better probably.
Right. What may happen is the judge may switch them around to see how someone else can handle Johanna's Ashier, who is giving her a bad time today. He hasn't found too many mistakes by anyone yet.
Johanna's cow wants to leave, has an appointment somewhere.
Well, Sarah's going to have to take over and hopefully do a good job with it. The judge is watching very closely on how these young people approach these animals. Are they looking this animal over properly to see if it's set up properly, or if they are just going over and taking the halter? And when they approach the animal and the halter is all unrolled or undone off the animal, he wants to know how quickly they're going to see this and correct it. Right now he's testing Johanna to see if it's her or if it's her animal.
This animal doesn't look to be moving too smooth either, does he?
No, she's just in a bad mood today. He's discouraged with this red and white cow.
Do you think he'll try someone else on it just to
I
make
wouldn't be
sure?
surprised. I would think he would take Todd and put on her, because Todd, it seems to be doing a real good job out there on that halter.
So has Hayward, you think he'll test him on this
I
one that
wouldn't
Sarah's
be
wrestling over?
surprised, Todd or Amy,
Class has been donated by the Horse Sports
'Cause
Agway.
Amy is moving very smoothly with that animal and has full control over her and knows where that judge is every second too. He's not lining them up in a placing at this point. He's lining them to see their proper reactions in the moves when it's time to make the moves. Sarah's doing okay with the animal, but it's hard work.
So is there any way Johanna can pick up points if her animal continues to give everybody a hard time? Will that... Or will,
Well, it's an uphill battle for her at this point because the first impression was she did not work with that animal is what
so even
was-
if it gives a hard time to everybody, it really reflects again.
back to Johanna.
And even though that animal might have handled great yesterday,
That's very true.
it's just how she reacts today, and today she's not cooperating a bit.
They are presenting these animals perfectly. Except Joe didn't have that hind leg, and now she has it. He is still testing them.
Johanna's not careful, she's going to step in some souvenirs. Now she very adroitly avoided them. Let me ask a silly question. Is the judge expecting the people moving around to notice stuff like that? Or is that just stepping in that sort of item taken for granted?
I missed your question.
Would a judge expect the people showing the animal to be alert enough to miss stepping into the souvenirs on the ground?
Not necessarily,
Because there could be a lot of them.
and it's very hard to miss them sometimes. He's having a tough decision with this group, and I'm not sure if I'd want to make the decision either.
I imagine as the groups get larger, this is a five out here, it gets tougher. Is that the case?
That's very true. That's very true. Because they are all great competitors. They are doing really a real good job. There's not a bad showman out there. Anyone would be pleased to have any one of these young men and ladies to show their animals for them.
This judge doesn't look too ancient either. I'm sure he's not too far away from having competed in this stuff himself.
This is very true, and he's been in some very tough competition, and he knows what they're looking for. He's an extremely good judge. He's very quiet, very smooth. There had better be clean ears and clean animals. Amy looked over her animal real well and knew exactly what needed to be done.
Let's bring them back with their original animal site.
Apparently that's what he's doing. Now this judge has never met any of these youngsters, and he's never seen any of these cows, and already he's remembered who belongs with what cow.
Poor Johanna can't win as soon as she...
It's a losing battle right now for Johanna. I wouldn't want to be in her position. It's an awful mountain for her to climb at this point.
I'm sure she realizes it, and it must be tough to stay out there when
You just have to stay out there and do the best that can be done.
I would imagine that little character building and showing the value of applying yourself is what this is all about to begin with.
It's very true. 4-H has an awful lot to offer young people. It builds a lot of character in them. We're very proud of every one of them that we've worked with. He's starting with the last one first. It's very heartbreaking to know that you're in that position, but what else can you do? Now he's down to 3. And it's going to be very fine minor points that puts the first one in first position. So yes, it is very important to be alert. Yes, you can have a clean animal. Yes, you can have a well-trained animal. But if you didn't get all the finer points, you're not going to stay up on top. It looks like he's down to 2 individuals now.
I know the Blaines and Bushies have their own animals. How about Hayward?
Yes, those are Todd's own animals.
And Sarah, she's not a farmer? Or any idea where she...
This animal is her own animal and is kept on her uncle's farm in Cooperville. He's going to check and see how quickly they set up their animals, how well they watch him, and what motions he makes so that they do the right thing at the right moment. He's watching to see if she's holding the head up properly. Is the halter on just right? And it may come down to asking questions of how much they know about their animal. Two super show people up here on the final decisions.
Don't let me crowd you. I'm just
No.
trying to get Sarah in the picture here.
Doesn't appear as though the judge is watching these other two, but he really is. You watch his eyes very closely. He lifts them up and he takes a peek of what's happening out there with those other two.
Are they expected to keep moving during all this?
Right, right. And he wants to know what their reactions are going to be. Okay, how quickly did they set up? That was super fast. Super fast. Now he's got to try to make them make a mistake. He's not sure how he's going to do it.
Let me ask another foolish question. You have a cow out here with milking it play a factor here? Would you want a full udder, or what would you? Or does it
Not
matter?
necessarily in this class. This class is showmanship. You'd want that udder fuller in the type class, the class where they're judging the animal herself.
So even though the way the animal looks here is important, they're not looking so much for something like the udders and stuff like that. They're just looking for the grooming mainly, and
That's exactly
how clean
true.
it is, and clipped it is, and so on.
He's already decided what he's going to do with Amy, but he wants her to think, and he wants to see if she's going to make a mistake because she's not sure where she is. My feeling, he has her in first place.
Unless she knocks herself out of it, right?
That's right, at this point, and that could happen. It's a very tough decision on those first two individuals.
Senior showmanship ages 13 to 15-year-old. 16 and older.
I saw the judge motion her to go over, but I'm not sure if it was first or second position. I would suspect first. Amy's been doing a super job. And Todd has too. It's a very close placing between the first pair, but they were all good showmen. She is moving right into first position. She doesn't want to get too positive with herself, because the judge could move her very quickly down the line if she makes any mistakes.
I remember from last year they lined up like this before, and
Things got changed.
that's right. Are they lined up a little bit too close to the side here? Should they be back a little bit more, you think?
I'd like to see it back a little bit more.
No room for anybody to walk around if they did want to show it some more. I think they were lined up and the animals just kind of
Kept creeping forward.
thought there was a manger in front of them and they wanted to see what was for breakfast.
And I'm sure this Ashier is thinking about going back to the barn. She's not happy out here. Gave Joe a real tough time today.
That Ashier might be retired after this day, eh?
It could very well happen. Joe may decide, I don't want to show you again.
These are 13 to 15-year-olds, correct?
I believe so. The final decision's been made.
In this senior showmanship, we have a close place in the top 3 individuals. A girl in first did a real outstanding job with her own heifer, and when she had the 2-year-old Holstein cow. The only thing I can really fault her with, I'd like to see that halter adjusted a little bit smaller on the Guernsey, and just have her keep her right hand up the chin of the animal. She places over the boy in second today, mainly on the fact that she's always presenting that Guernsey to the best of her ability. Where the boy in second, he knows the mechanics, he had her legs where they're supposed to be, but not quite in the best position. If they were back there a little bit too far back or a little forward, it was a little too far forward. Also, there is a slight advantage in clipping over the shoulders and on the neck of the Guernsey over the boy in second. The boy in second also misses the sawdust where the girl in first did. The boy in second or the girl in third, it's probably a little unfortunate that when we switched haulers, the girl in third ended up with the Ayrshire, who wasn't cooperating real well, and I think that probably took away her concentration from where I was and what I was doing. Because of that, she did miss some turning of the head and giving me a complete full view of the front of the animal. But it close place in second over third. And then the 2 people that we have in fourth and fifth, they did a fine job. They know the mechanics. The Ayrshire and Linus not cooperating real well. Makes it tough for a showman to present that animal to the best of their ability. The boy in fourth, a real fine job. I'd like to see his heifer a little cleaner on the head, in her head. Clean the ears a little better and just become a little more relaxed at the hauler. But a fine job by everyone in class.
In this class of senior showmanship 16 and over, receiving the halter and blue ribbon is Amy Bushy. Receiving blue ribbons are Todd Haywood and Sarah Sample. Receiving reds, we have Micah Bushy and Johanna Blaine. The halter for this class was donated by Morris Works Agway. Our next class is senior showmanship, ages 16 and over. Please come in the ring. Grand champion showmanship, please stand by.
Entering the ring is Stephanie Garceau. And Charles Bosley, the second individual. And Thomas Lapierre is the third individual coming in the ring.
Is this Charles Bosley any relation to the commentator we have?
He happens to be my son, and he's worked very hard with this heifer, and right now this heifer is not cooperating at all.
I think they've just met. So he's experiencing the same thing Johanna did in the last round.
That's
huh?
right. And he happened to be top showman in our showmanship we had this spring in the 5 counties we had up at this fairgrounds in the early part of June.
There's a dignitary walking by, the president of the Clinton County Fair for 1985, 86, and 87, Homer Bushy.
And also a VOAG teacher at Northern Adirondack, and the head of the FFA barn here on the fairgrounds with a large group of students that he's working with.
And in his spare time, he coaches the Northeastern Girls Summer League team. So very busy summer for Homer Bushy. This is his vacation time too, Lawrence.
It's a working vacation. Charles is a little disappointed right now. He's worked so hard and nothing is falling into place for him.
Now he's got a young animal out there. Did he have an older animal he'd been working with in the past, and now he just decided to switch?
Yes, but this one happened to be one of his favorites. He bought her over in Vermont and brought her across on the ferry, and he thinks a lot of this animal, and
At least until 5 minutes ago he did, right?
that's very true. And I'm not sure if he's ready to give her away. But there's a great deal of experience with these three people in the ring. They're all great showmen, and it's going to be a very, very difficult time to place them. It won't be if Charles' animal continues acting that way. He's ready to take her back to the barn.
Might be hamburger time, huh?
And that's a very difficult situation to be in. You know you've worked hard, and you know that that animal knows what to do, and it's the same situation Johanna had. Johanna worked very hard with her animal and got to the show ring. It would not do a thing. And that's very discouraging after you put that kind of time into it. Charles is still having trouble with his cow, and apparently he has a big uphill battle to do now too.
Have Mr. Sam Blaine moving into the arena here. Maybe he'll Visit with Lawrence for a while. We can talk him into it.
Do you think that we need to practice more with these animals, or I think we've got some great showmen in this class. Charles seems to be at a great disadvantage today. This heifer decided she's not going to do a thing for him.
Sam refuses to talk to us. Just too bashful today, I guess.
The judge is going to switch everyone around to see what kind of job they're going to do showing. Let's see if this animal's going to cooperate with Tom.
If it doesn't, Tom's liable to pick it up and carry it.
Tom has the magic touch today. Doesn't look like Tom can lose this class.
He'll pick up a lot of points here if he can make this animal behave, won't he?
He sure is. That's great. That was a super job. That was a super job. Now, even if we spoke to Tom right at this moment, he is not able to turn and reply back because he would lose points very quickly.
His world is in that arena right now. I'm sure he doesn't even know this camera's here in back of him.
I'm very sure he knows it's here, but he realizes this is the only little world he's in at the moment, and this is where he should stay. Charles realizes he's lost the placing in this class, but he's still going to stay with it and do the best he can. And this is what we want to see. We don't want to see someone get angry and walk out of here because things just didn't go the way they should. That's not the way life is.
That's where the character building comes in, right?
Very, very truly.
And sometimes in the long run, you win more when you lose than you do when you win.
This is true again, because life is not all easy.
It's how you handle the bad experiences that makes a difference in the long run.
It really looks like that this is Tom's day. Tom has not even looked at the camera or anyone outside that show ring. His eye is on the judge and on his animal, and this is exactly what we want.
Even though the judge is over here talking to Stephanie Garso, is it?
Right.
The others are keeping their eye on the judge.
Very much so.
Because they know he's watching them. Even though he's talking to someone else, he's still got them in mind. Now let me ask this as a boy or a man have a little advantage here over the arm strength and handling one of these animals? Does that play a factor at all?
Yes, it does, because you could get an ornery animal and be able to make it do a little bit better job than a more frail and finer, smaller person. Tom is just doing everything perfect today. He has not made a mistake out there. This is just what we want to see. He's been very alert. The judge is watching Tom, but he's watching the other two out there also. At our spring show, Tom was down the line a little bit, and I think this was a great education for him. He learned that this is not going to come easy, and he competed against these same people.
Spring show was where and when?
It was held right here at the fairgrounds the first weekend in June. It is called Dairy Camp. It took in 5 counties. It was Clinton, Essex, Franklin, St. Lawrence, and Warren County were all represented here.
Now, how come I didn't know about that?
Apparently, it wasn't reported your direction. I'm not sure.
Somebody's sleeping at the switch here. Maybe me.
It was a great show. It's really a learning experience.
Was it just these seniors or?
No, this took in all age groups.
Now, would somebody like the novice group that have competed today, could they have competed in something like that and still been a novice? Or
they
no?
did, yes. Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
But it's not an official show. This is an official show. Tom's still looking good.
Now, how important is the grooming of the participant? Because that's
Very important. Very important.
how they look out there is important too. They
Oh,
can't
yes.
come in here with stains on themselves.
Don't bother coming in. You can expect bottom without trying.
So I'd imagine you don't wear these white outfits too often during the year, huh?
No, they're cleaned and put away and stored.
The halter for this class has been donated by Bayview Dairy, and we have Grand Champion Showmanship on deck.
The moms do a lot of work keeping these uniforms neat and clean and pressed for them.
In this class of senior showmanship, we have 3 outstanding showmen. It's unfortunate again, the young man in third, Heffer, didn't want to leave very well because he did a real outstanding job when he took the 2-year-old, 3-year-old cow, fourth. I'd really like to see what he could do with that calf on another day, but for today, he's going to have to stand where he is. The young man in first over the young lady in second. Mainly, he's just a little quicker on the hauler. He always knew where I was when I was behind him, when I was beside him. He turns ahead so he can feel the height a little quicker than the girl in second. And although he was a little slow, he did catch the sawdust that I put on his cow's shoulders, where the girl in second failed to. I did when we first switched to ours, it was still on there. I added some more, thinking maybe she couldn't see it. It took him a little while, but he did finally brush it off. And the girl in second was the only one when we were lined up over in the corner. She was the slowest to realize I was behind him, turning around and give me a complete view of the front of the cow. The three very, very outstanding showmen.
Receiving a halter in blue in this class is Thomas Papier, and receiving blues is Stephanie Garso and Charles Bosley. Our next class is Grand Champion Showmanship, and this is the first and second place from the previous classes of today.
Okay, why don't you explain what's happening right now, Lawrence?
Well, these are all the first and second place animals from the previous classes. Sarah Bushy in the Clover Bud class and Jessica Blaine Clover Bud class. That's first and second. And
Those
the
are
next,
6 to 8 years olds.
right. And the third person is Lisa Bergen, who took first in her class, and Katrina Irwin.
Those
Her
are novices.
Right, her dad's helping her a bit out there.
Is that allowed?
Dad knows that she doesn't have a chance in this class, but she needs the experience of being out there, and the judge won't mind at this point in the show. And the next is Samantha Blaine with her brown Swiss, and Shayna Blaine is behind her. And then Amy Bushy and Todd Haywood was out there.
He's behind Tom up here. Yeah.
He's moved Tom up with Amy right now, and it's going to be very close competition in this particular class between Tom and Amy.
You think that's the reason he put the two first places?
I'm very sure that he realizes that they are real top show people. And
how much does what happened so far, excuse me, enter into the mind of the judge at this point? Is he weighing what's happened so far and throwing it into the
he's weighing
decision?
what's happened in the previous classes, and he's remembering everything everyone has done. He hasn't forgot a thing. You could ask him questions and he could tell you. He wouldn't know the name of the child or the individual, but he could tell you how each individual and what they did and didn't do. But he will judge them on what they are doing right here now. And if Thomas doesn't do a real good job, he could lose that position. And it's rare, someone in Amy's class coming up and taking it away from someone in Tom's class. But it could happen.
Would you say she'd have to actually be a little bit better than Tom? Would you say that he's going to lean toward Tom if they're even?
I would think so. At this point. I think age has entered into it, and the experience.
Because the winner here will compete in the next category. Well, they won't compete this year, but next year they'll competing in the next category, which is only for previous champions. So they're kind of retired when they win here, right?
Right. And the next class will be the retired champions that will be coming out. And Tom is moving up in first position now, and Amy is coming into second. And I wouldn't be surprised if they stayed there. They are two outstanding showmen. They were all great showmen out there. I'm very pleased with everyone out there.
watching the stands, what's going on outdoors. A lot of exposure, boys on the 2 days that we have in the set. 2 more years.
We have an outstanding judge. He's taken time and explained and taught each one of these individuals today, and he was just explaining to them as a group. That's just outstanding, and this is what is needed to teach the young people and the parents of what's expected out in that showroom.
How would the 4-H come up with a judge? How do they find them? Any idea?
They have a list, and they have to be registered to be on this list as qualified judges. And the agent decided who would be the judge. No one knew other than the agent and the judge today who was going to be judging.
I've had the opportunity to judge several showmanships in the last 3 or 4 years. But I would have to say I've never seen a more prepared group of young showmen in one county so far. From the Clover Buds to the Master Showman, each and every one has learned mechanics. And now it's just a matter of becoming more confident with a mechanic, becoming more confident with your animal, believe in your animal, believe in yourself. And a good way to do that is just to watch as much showing, whether it's this fair or another fair. Today we have a real fine pair of showmen. The young man in first, designated Master Showman, he scored a place over the girl, although I'd just soon have either one beat my cow. The young man in first today, just a little quicker on the halter, repositioning the rear legs, keeping the head where it ought to be, turning the neck, turning around when I'm in front of him so I can see the cow. Basically, I had to admire the young lady in second. She went out, she readjusted the halter on her animal, and to me that means she listens. She wants to present that animal to the best of her ability. Close placing, but I'm going to go with the young man with the full-strength cow for Master Showman. I think they all deserve a round of applause.
Our Grand Champion Showman today is Thomas Lapeer, and our Reserve Grand Champion Showman is Amy Bushy. The trophy is a perpetual trophy donated by Paul Hopkins Memorial. Our next class is Past Grand Champion Showmanship, and this class consists of anyone who is still in 4-H that has won the Grand Champion class at a fair.
And they must be under the age of 19.
19 or younger, or under 19?
19 or younger. As of the 1st of January. If they were 19 the 30th of December, they can't show. If they were the 1st of January, they could show. In this class there are 2 entries, Craig Mosley and Debbie Check, and it's going to be a very close placing in these 2. They are past champions. Craig was last year's champion and Debbie the year before. They both know how to show animals very well.
Craig just picked up a souvenir in his trip through.
He's got a thick amount of it under his foot, but he's having to ignore that to present his animal at its best.
Of course, you live on a farm, that type of stuff is just taken in stride.
That's very true. You don't let it bother you.
But it can be distracting, I'm sure, at a time like this.
They have both done excellent jobs of preparing their animals for this class. Debbie will move it very quickly, very good, perfect. Every move is made excellent. And Craig needs to move that cow perfectly, perfect. This judge has his work cut out for him. If you watch, his hand is in his pocket. He will be dropping some sawdust on these animals, and they will not notice it. There is sawdust in that pocket. Watch that hand very closely. The sawdust was just put on the animal. And we want to know if this young man is going to brush that off, and he sure did. Everything was perfect.
I saw his mother breathing a sigh of relief up there when he did that.
The only way you pick that up is watch that judge very closely. You must have an eye on him at every second. There are no mistakes made out there at all at this point. He's having to test them by asking them questions. I'm not sure on what. It's something about showing why they are doing something or why something is done a particular way. I almost think he put some sawdust on that heifer. He just did. If we watch closely, we saw it go on. Now let's see if Debbie picks that up. And she saw it right away, got it cleaned up. You just cannot fool these individuals. But he has more tricks up his sleeve for these two. They're not done the test. If they get Grand Showman, they've earned it. I feel what had happened in this class was that Craig did not quite show that heifer to advantage. She just could have looked a little bit better when she stood over on the other side just before he left her. That is the only thing that set him in second place. Everything else was excellent. But the decision is still not made. He could change his mind.
Do any of the winners here go on to further competition?
Yes, they go to Syracuse and compete against the best showmen from every county in the state that show cattle. And if they place very well from there, they can go on to national shows.
Is that just the Grand Showman, or are there other categories too?
Just the Grand Showman goes and competes in that. Debbie per se is not from a dairy farm. They have some property and a barn, and they raise these heifers and sell them as milk cows when it's time for them to calve, and have done very well in doing so.
For our past grand champion, I'm going with the young lady with the heifer. Today she has an advantage. Both showmen, tremendous response with the mechanics to showmanship. The young lady does have an advantage though. Not only does she get the rear legs where they ought to be, she always makes sure the front legs are squarely placed under the heifer, where the young man in second now and then gets them required instead of squarely placed. And also I think she's a little more comfortable on a halter. She has a tendency to really show not only the heifer, but she shows the cow too. And the young man in second has a tendency to walk just a little too fast. And I like to see, but both individuals did a real fine job.
Receiving the rosette today is Debbie Check, and she will be having a halter coming from Elkhaven Farms, or not a halter, a trophy coming from Elkhaven Farms later on. And also receiving a blue, we have Craig Rosley.
And Debbie has an older sister outside the ring who has been past champion, who is walking out with her now, and has done an excellent job in the past.
On deck, we have junior heifer Cass Gurnley.
And that completes the 4-H Fitting and Showmanship competition. At least to the best of my knowledge, I believe they're getting into showing the animals now. I will check and verify that. I believe the Fitting and Showmanship is completed. We want to thank Lawrence Bosley once again for helping us out. We're sorry that due to the circumstances, I'm sure with 4 daughters entered here, Sam Blaine's time was at a premium. We're looking forward to visiting to him again this year, but he was very seldom in the barn here, or the arena if you might prefer. So that's going to complete the 1987 4-H Fitting and Showmanship competition held on Wednesday morning, July 29th at the Clinton County Fairgrounds.